Good evening, friends. We are gathered here to honor our dear departed trustee, the Joint Honorary Secretary of the Institute of Environmental Architecture and Research, Dr. Ashok Joshi. I welcome all of you, and there are many here whom I personally do not know. I hope that I first of all welcome Dr. Shubhangini Joshi and also Dinesh and Jigyasa. And I hope that they will be able to introduce the other people who are here or at least mention about them. And before we go ahead with this meeting, I will request everyone to keep their mic on mute so that there is no disturbance, because we'll also be recording this meeting, and we will put it on our social media as well. So please keep your mics on mute if you're whenever you're not speaking, so that there is no disturbance. And now I will request Secretary of IEAR, Advocate Dr. Sadhna Mahashabde, to begin the meeting with a brief prayer. Sadhna.
Yes. I will start with the prayer for peace. Asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityormam amrutam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Take us from improper knowledge to truth, from darkness to ignorance to light of understanding, from death to immortality, this way to attain physical, mental, and spiritual peace. This is from Rig Veda. I'll move to second prayer. O God, as a team, we are praying. Safeguard us as team, develop us as best of glorious victory, with enlightenment on the path of tranquility of the body, thought and consciousness. This is also from Rig Veda. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu Mam Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. After this, I'll move to the prayer from Atharva Veda, is the prayer for salvation. Suryam chakshurgacchatu atamatma dhyancha gaccha prithivim cha dharmana apova gaccha yadi tatra te hitam oshadishu pratitishta sharirehe. Vision ends in sun, prana ends in vayu. All elements of body to settle in Panchamahabhutas and the soul to rest in peace. This prayer is from Atharva Veda. I'll move to next prayer. This is the prayer to Yamaraja. This is also from Rig Veda. Pare yivasam pravato mahiranu bahubhyah pantham anupaspashanam vaivasvatam sangamanam jananam yamam rajanam havishaduvasya. Departed soul is with good deeds and goodliness. Take him and godliness, take him carefully to the pleasant and peaceful heaven. This is the prayer from Rig Veda. Next prayer is to establish unity with the forefathers for the departed soul. Om Sangachadvam Samvadadvam Samvo Manasi Janatam Deva Bhagam Yatha Purve Sajjananam Upasate. Om Samaniva Akutihi Samana Rudayanivaha Samanamastu Vo Manah यथा वह सुसहासति। ॐ समानो मन्त्रः समितिः समानी समानं मनः सहचित्तमेषां समानं मन्त्रम् अभिमन्त्रयेवः समानेन वो हविषा जुहोमि. This prayer is from Rigveda, and this is for the departed soul to get good company of caring forefathers. Their hearts and minds should be in harmony, and the departed soul should be restful in the peace. And move to rest. Next prayer. Prayer for the calmness of relatives and friends and all of us. Death is one of the truth. We should not get disturbed and remain calm and fearless. For this is the prayer from Rigveda. यथा सत्यं चानृतं च न विभीतो नरिष्यतः एवामे प्राणमाविभे एवामे प्राणमारिषः यथा भूतं च भव्यं च न विभितो नरिष्यतः एवामे प्राणमाविभे एवामे प्राणमारिषः. I will move to the next prayer. Prayer for one should not lament. That is, we all, relatives and friends. This is from the Bhagavad Gita. One who has taken birth is sure to die, and after death, one is to take rebirth. For this unavoidable cycle, you should not lament. This is the meaning. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu dhruvam janma mrutasya cha tasmat apariharyerthe natvam shochiturmasi. Move to the next prayer. This is the last of this Shanti mantra. Let's pray homage with remembrance of our saints. Maharashtra is known as Santbhumi, and this saint taught us bhakti, and this bhakti gives us strength to sustain all the shock in the life. पवित्र होयेन चरित्र उतारे रूपाचा आधारे गोजिरिया अपुरती बुद्धी पुण्य नाही गाठी पायी घाली मिठी पाहे डोळा गायीन ओविया शिष्टांच्या आधारे सारीन विचारे आयुष्या तुका म्हणे तुझे नाम नारायणा ठेवीन मी मना आपुल्या बोला पुंडलिक वरदे हरी विठ्ठल श्री ज्ञानदेव तुकाराम श्री जय जय राम कृष्ण हरी जय जय राम कृष्ण हरी. ओम शांति शांति शांति.
Thank you, Sadhna. So, going ahead, friends, when I think back of my almost 19-year-old association with Dr. Joshi, what comes to my mind is a gentle, soft-spoken, calm personality, a hardcore scientist with whom you could discuss any subject with ease, a sharp mind with a profound knowledge and wisdom that went beyond knowledge and provided guidance on the path forward, whilst having all the knowledge at your disposal. And always, Dr. Joshi's judgments were in favor of environment and people. I would say justice, equality, empathy. These are the hallmarks of the persona that was Dr. Ashok Madhav Joshi. When we posted the announcement of his untimely demise on Facebook recently, messages started pouring in from everywhere, from students, faculty, colleagues, and friends, some of which I will read out later in the program. All of these messages are an evidence of his popularity, And this popularity was on account of his helping nature towards others, including friends, students, and colleagues. He was always there for all of us and for everyone who needed his advice and counsel. His simple, common sense way of explaining complex topics made him a favorite among students. And like many from that generation, he was quite uncomfortable with PowerPoints and gadgetry. We all remember him teaching on a blackboard with chalk, and probably not even that. He could just talk for hours on his favorite subject, that is environment. Today, I want to take a bit of time to highlight about his scientific and humanistic contribution to the world. Very few of you may know that when I joined Rachna Sansad as head of department, uh, I did not have a formal background or experience in education or the complex administrative responsibilities, procedures of exams and appraisals, nor a formal background in environment. I was back from Johannesburg's World Summit on Sustainable Development, having then lost my mentor and guru, Dr. Rashmi Mayur, and having no clue on how to run a postgraduate department. So, when Professor Vandrekar entrusted me the task of heading the department, I was quite literally lost until Dr. Joshi came along. Through the initial phases of setting up of the course schedule, resource persons, administrative and academic rigors that go into managing a postgraduate program, not to mention student requirements, Dr. Joshi literally handheld me through everything. And all he would say is, don't worry, this is so simple. In his characteristic manner, he would jot down pointers on a piece of paper, and that would be my cue of what to do and how to go ahead. Not only did he provide me all the technical and psychological support that was required, but he was there physically, practically every day, working on syllabus, on curriculum, schedules, appraisals, preparing question papers, question banks, visiting MSBT, sorting out all the technical problems, helping during those awful inspections, and being there to provide his full support to an endeavor in which we have all come together so far. In fact, it was Dr. Joshi who, along with late architect Nishi Fonge and several others, including Dr. Lattu, who is here today, put together a holistic and a multi-dimensional program on environmental architecture at Rachna Sansad, a postgraduate program. I would say that it was probably the first of its kind in the whole country. So we are all greatly indebted to him and also Professor Fonge for their vision of this program and their perseverance to bring it to reality, a dream of both Professor Vandrekar and Dr. Rashmi Mayur. Later, we all worked on making this into a master's curriculum, which was taught in several colleges throughout India. So he laid the foundation for something called environmental architecture. But Rachna Sansad Institute of Environmental Architecture was beyond an institution providing a postgraduate program. All of us who have been part of it knew that. It was for us an arena to conduct research on sustainability and apply it to real life projects. And in all these projects, Dr. Joshi, while always remaining in the background, provided us vital support and leadership. Whether it was the Dahisar River Restoration Project, Mankud Slum Improvement Project, Harvest to Harness Rainwater Harvesting Competition Project, the first of its kind all India, Charlotte Lake Restoration, Savantwadi Ecotourism, Eco Housing Project, Research Project on Green Building Materials, VOCs, ECBC Roadmap Project. VOCs was a project we did with Godrej Interior, or much recently, the Buckingham Canal project, we could bank on Dr. Joshi to guide us. His sound judgment and continuous guidance sailed us through each and every project with flying colors. And the best thing was that our team gained a lot of positive energy from each other. We enjoyed and learned and created new things. And Dr. Joshi was a cementing factor in this teamwork. His ideas on environment and conservation were quite original. He sincerely believed in human nature integration, that is, they are complementary, in stark contrast to what most environmentalists think, that is, humans are an aberration in nature. His viewpoints were always balanced. He said that development to the level where it provides sustenance and good quality of life to people while constantly improving and safeguarding the environment. He had his unique solutions to problems, which he would keep up his sleeve until the very end. And then when he revealed it, we would realize how simple the solution really was. Finally, friends, a few thoughts about his personality. I recall once I was talking to him about a spam email in my mailbox about a lottery or prize I had apparently won. He told me that you should never accept money or gift that you did not earn. It was a plain fact for him, but for me it left a lasting impact. And we encountered this, sorry, I have to admit people. And we encountered this aspect of his personality on numerous occasions further on. And I noticed later that this integrity extended into every facet of his work, most notably in research, where he was always rigorous and meticulous. I recall that while doing the research on volatile organic compounds in indoor office spaces for Godrej, we had tough time reaching baseline of 0. But having Dr. Joshi with us, we knew that we would be able to achieve this. And eventually we did. He always had a sequential procedure and he would always say, don't worry, we try this first. And if yes, then go further. If no, then try this and so on. But solutions were always there with him. These lessons on how to conduct scientific research became part of what we imparted to our students in the master's program. In fact, it was because of him that our department acquired a number of instruments and used them for empirical research, which led later to our department and students receiving awards for their research work. As an example, the first Council of Architecture Sustainability Awards were won by, both the first and the second prizes were won by our students who did empirical research on walling materials and roofing materials. Netra Mohan Changmai, who did a research on composite bamboo panels, and Shoaib Hanjkikar, who did a research on coir pith roof. Another very remarkable aspect of Dr. Joshi was that he was very approachable, whether it was a student or a faculty from the department. We could call on Dr. Joshi and ask him anything under the sun. He would patiently listen and provide us a solution. Despite his in-depth knowledge, neither students or friends felt intimidated to approach him. This was a hallmark of a great teacher. And as for his expectations, they were very little. A quiet corner where he could make his notes, good company, a cup of tea, and half a sandwich. He was less comfortable in formal occasions and most happy with students teaching or conducting a research. Friends, that was Dr. Joshi, friend, confidant, guide, teacher, colleague, and more. Over the years, he helped plant a great number of seeds in all of us, and we pray for his soul to guide us, bring his dreams to fruition. May the Almighty grant his soul eternal peace. Om Shanti. I will now request Dr. Shubhangini Joshi, Dr. Ashok Joshi's lifelong companion and comrade, to pay her homage. That will be followed by his son and daughter, Dinesh and Jigyasa, who are also here.
Unmute your mic.
Good evening to all. At the outset, let me thank Dr. Roshni and all the members of IER. She has very beautifully pointed out a number of things in his professional and personal life also. I think I was the chosen one, and for 43 years of married life, we had a very great, fulfilling married life because we had a lot of things in common. The most common thing was the love for nature, and probably that brought us close together. And actually on 10th of March, when I took him to the hospital, I had a very no inkling rather that I would never take him back home, because from 13th of December he was sick, but on 4th of January I had brought him home and he was getting better. But then again he had to be hospitalized, and then things did not work out the way I had hoped, and rather we all had hoped that they would turn out. So finally on the 2nd of April he left me alone. But I know I'm not alone. He is there with me and he will be there with me always. I was very happy to see the photo of 13th of March, which I did not have, because on 13th of February, because that was the day he wanted to meet all of you. I don't know what had come over him, but he had told me 4-5 days ago that I am going to attend that meeting. And I was really very scared actually, because he hadn't stepped out of the house without me for a very long time, and his health was it was really fragile. So I was really scared whether he will hold up to that long journey from Andheri to Mulund. But not only did he hold up, after he came back, it was like a great transformation that had happened in him. And I think all the positive vibes which he must have acquired on that particular day really made him so vibrant that for almost a month we were very happy that he was doing well, and the doctors were also very happy that he was doing well. My daughter Jignasa, she also had come down from Canada to meet her father because she hadn't seen him for 1 year. My son, he wanted to come, but my daughter-in-law, she was due for delivery, and having no elders at home, it was impossible for him to leave his home and come, because she was alone. My daughter-in-law, she was alone. So Malika and Dinesh, they were continuously looking out for him to get better and better. And our hopes had risen. But unfortunately, despite all the efforts that the doctors made, and I spared no efforts whatsoever in my whatever human possible efforts, he just couldn't make it back. But I know that although there was so much for us to do together, to say together, because I couldn't meet him for the last 4-5 days. So it is extremely painful, and I'm grieving. I don't know how long I will grieve for the fact that I couldn't meet him. For the last few days. Life was beginning a new role for us as grandparents. We have a Bonnie baby in the family. My son Dinesh and Malika fortunately she delivered on the 21st of March, and I feel that that was a blessing, because he could appreciate his grandson for as many days as I could show him the videos and the pictures of his grandson. Well, I suppose that's life, and life has to go on. All of us know that. But for me, losing Ashok was like losing a part of myself. He was a very loving husband, a devoted father, and a caring friend. He was a very simple and pure man at soul. And he had no cravings for any materialistic things. That was one thing that he never had. And in a way, I think what Roshni expressed was that don't take what you don't deserve to take. Take only what you have earned. And that is what he always did all his life. He did not preach what he didn't practice. He was a very knowledgeable person, extremely ethical, honest, had integrity, all above all. And sometimes I would, in jocularly, I would ask him that so and so person, see how well he's doing in the field of environment. He's earning so much money, and he's, I mean, living such a lavish life, you know. So he would always, he would always smile the way he always smiled. And he would tell me that I cannot do what they can. So I have never done anything that is irregular, and I will not be able to do anything irregular to get money. And many a times he would not get money even what he deserved. But he never had any qualms about that. In fact, I would be the one who would feel so hurt, because he was such a simple soul. But conscience mattered to him. And I think that was probably what made him a real pure soul. I still remember the day when Nishi Phonge came to our house, and they sat together and discussed for a very long time about integrating environment with architecture, because that is what he believed. He felt that environment is so all encompassing that you cannot isolate it from, particularly from the areas of planning an urban life or a rural life or architecture. Now, I do not understand much about this. I know he has worked on very big projects, but very, very unfortunately, the untimely death of Nishi Phonge really shattered him. But despite all that, he went on to establish the course and put it on its 2 feet. And I'm really very happy for him, because basically he was very happy teaching. That was what he was. Basically, he was a teacher at heart, an academician, a researcher. That's how I also came to know him when I first met him. And Lalita Iyer, who has been my companion since 1971, we have been classmates. She will bear me out how he guided us through the project that we were doing, our thesis work that we were working on, mercury toxicity. And he would never find it difficult to explain very complex things in a very simple manner. So at the end of it, we would wonder why we never thought of it, But anyway, I think the closure of the courses at Rachana really broke his heart. He was really heartbroken after the courses closed down, and for a very long time, I should say, it was like he was grieving for a very long time. But I think the revival of your IEAR, this new aspect that has come into being, he was very happy. Unfortunately, his health was not giving him a lot of cooperation, because of which traveling or was becoming more difficult for him. And he was trying to kind of get his things together. I really am very, very sorry that he has left all of us. I mean, it's a very big loss for me, but I'm very sure it is a very big loss for all of you who were associated. His lateral thinking was really wonderful. I mean, sometimes a very, very simple solution was there in front of our eyes, which we never ever thought. I have a neighbor whose son also used to come in this lockdown to learn physics and chemistry. And one day he told his mother that I did not realize that physics and chemistry was so easy and so much applicable to our day-to-day living. That was what he was. He never felt that anything that is complex cannot be simplified. So for him, everything was very simple because he was so knowledgeable. He was like an encyclopedia for me. And he was a noble and true environmentalist and preaching what he practiced. That is what he always did. The best, I should say, the best uh, thing that could be uh, said to have happened was when I we took him to the cremation, and when the cremation was done by PNG, the cremation, the people over there were very happy. They said, "You have saved 2 trees," and they gave me a beautiful tulsi plant in his memory, which I will cherish. I will grow as long as I can. And I think there could be no better, what you can say, words that will describe him as an environmentalist. I can't get the word right now because I'm really feeling very fuzzy. And he was a very, very good husband. I should say he has helped so many people, and all the good wishes that have gone with him, that he was really a very pure soul. And I'm very grateful once again to IER. Maybe I've missed out a few things because I had written out some things, but I thought I should talk a little more extempore as the thoughts pour into my mind. So he was a very good cook. I don't know how many of you knew that, but I will miss his unstinted effort and for in any and support in any endeavor that I took, whether it was cycling after a gap of 30 years, 35 years, which I had demanded that I want a bicycle for my wedding anniversary. And we went to the shop to buy a bicycle for me. And he never ever said, "Oh, you are now so old. Are you going to ride a bicycle now?" He never ever did that. He never ever negated anything that I would want to do, and always encouraged me for everything. Even if he might have in his heart of hearts felt that is it right for her, the only thing he would tell me is, "Be careful, don't break your bones." That's all. So I have beautiful memories, beautiful events that uh, he stood by me as a pillar. And I'm very sure, though I have lost him in body, I have not lost him in mind. He's there with me. He will always be there with me until my dying day and for the rest of my life. Thank you very much, all of you. Om
Thank,
Shanti.
thank you. May I request Dinesh or Jigyasa, because I can't see everybody, but to speak.
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you, Roshni. I'm Dinesh Joshi. I'm Dr. Joshi's son. I know a few of you. I've not met most of you, and I'm very grateful for all of you to be here today. Um, to um, so all I wanted to say here was what aspects of personality Roshni and my mother has pointed out are the aspects of personality that were our role model while growing up. He was the same person at home as he was with you guys. The thing that I learned from him growing up was being honest, being transparent, having a great amount of integrity and sticking to your principles, being empathetic, and most of all, being generous to the needs of people around you. I think those are things that he embodied. He was a teacher at heart, an extremely encouraging person. As my mother also pointed out, he may not have always believed that you're capable of doing something, but he used to always still encourage because he believed that in the basic fundamental principle that encouraging somebody is worth it. If they are able to do something, that's always great. If they are not, at least you've tried and you've failed. Now you know something. So failure wasn't seen as a big deal, and being in the Indian society, and how parents can be very exacting to their children. um, he was quite the opposite, and he accepted everything in his stride. um, Above all, I think he was meticulous and pursued excellence in his life. So he never stopped learning. He never stopped reading, questioning things. He was very, very curious as an individual, and I think some part of that has trickled into us as children, and as a result, we are also, you know, in his somewhat in his image, made in his image. Um, Growing up, I just wanted to share that um, I got into the field of computers and software because he used to, although he didn't know anything about computers at that time, he used to sit and encourage me, ask me questions, and challenge me into doing something that was small, but it was meaningful. And much as to what Roshni pointed out, everything was very simple. He had a simple solution. He used to point out those solutions if I couldn't find them. And it was more of a playful journey with him to learn something that was new, something that was not even his field of you know study, and yet he was able to encourage me to learn something new, a new subject, to really learn about curiosity and how do you go about learning, because lifelong learning was very important to him. He used to still sit for hours and learn about uh, random things because of his curiosity. um, I think the loss is immeasurable for us and the people that he has touched. But I think uh, uh, he was a gentle and good soul, and his his work is not done. I think with every one of us that he has touched, uh, I think his work will continue into the future. So it's that is, I think, the basic thing for me, to see all of you here, and to be happy that all of his teaching and his positivity um, is something that's not going to come to an end, although his life has come to an end. So I think that gives me happiness to see that he's made an impact, a very, very large impact on the world and on people more than anything else. Thank you.
Thank you, Dinesh. I think certainly, yes, we will continue his work at least through IAR. And now I request Jignasa, yes, I see her, to say a few words.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Good evening to everyone. First of all, I want to thank everyone for being here and acknowledging the passing away of my father, our father. And uh, it has been a very difficult thing to accept. The loss is immeasurable and irreversible. But that is how life is. I think the best way he would want us to move forward is by remembering all what he did, live and try to live up to the principles and the role model that he was for all of us. Uh, I was, I as his daughter was extremely attached to him. Although I had my share of fights with him, I wouldn't deny that. But as they say, you fight with the ones you love the most. So the more I fought with him, the more I loved him. And being away at such a time, not being with him has been the most difficult thing for me, my brother, and my mother. Three different corners of the world, but we are together in thoughts, and we're always there for each other. Distance does not matter. Uh, uh, for me, the memories that I have of him, uh, since I'm the elder one, I have additional few years of memories with him, which I will always cherish. And he used to carry me and walk for at least a couple of kilometers just to get me to school. That is my very first memory. He has been there. Uh, I Whenever I used to need him, he was always there to take care of anything. He has pampered me a lot. I have been his little princess from day one. Uh, he has, I mean, it's really very difficult to to accept the fact that he is no longer going to be there to pamper me the way I want it. Um, but I have to accept it slowly, and uh, for sure I have to do that. For and he has never he has been very encouraging always. uh, I am the only non-science person in the family, believe it or not. I had grades good enough to get into science to do, and I was excelling in science as well. But when I chose a non-science, when I chose economics to pursue economics, he was as encouraging and as happy for it uh, as I was choosing that subject. Uh, and I have done well. He has always encouraged me to pursue whatever I want. Even this move to a new country and to be with new people and to set up a new life here, all the way far from my own home and my very comfortable Mumbai. He encouraged me and said, if it is for your good, go ahead and do it. He was very happy, and he was looking forward to coming here, spending time with me over here, exploring a new country. And when I used to show him photographs of the nature around the place and the flora and the fauna and the animal life here, he was very happy. He used to love watching those pictures, and he was a hardcore environmentalist. So anything, wherever he used to see green or wherever he used to see water, it was his comfort zone. So you could not separate the man from the nature. He loved being among people who loved nature. He loved being among nature. He always used to try and do anything and everything that would be good for nature. So he had a good nature. He was loving, caring. He was extremely knowledgeable, and he never hesitated to share his knowledge and his expertise with anybody. And he never expected anything in return. You give him something, he's happy for it. He would never pursue you. Oh, I have given you consultation for an hour, so I expect you to pay me X amount as my consultation fees. No, he was not that kind of a person. All he expected from you in return was that you pay it forward. You do the same in return for somebody else. You help that person, give that person, share the knowledge. Don't keep it for yourself. Knowledge is something which grows when you share it. That was what he believed. So, and he did that. Despite me not being from science, that never stopped me from being inquisitive, asking him questions, talking to him. He used to write stuff, and he used to ask me, oh, can you edit this for me? And I used to get to read the stuff that he used to write. It was brilliant pieces. He used to write for the newspaper, for articles. He had radio programs on environment, snippets on Akashvani, and he used to be extremely happy doing that. He used to do that in English. He used to do that in Marathi. I think he might have even done a few in Hindi. although Hindi was not his strong language, but he used to do that, and he used to enjoy it the most. That was the main thing, you know. That was his, that was the most the comfortable thing that he was always. And there are many aspects of life, of his life, that are difficult to cover over here. But suffice it to say that he was a person whose loss is going to be felt across people, across families, across friends, across his students, across uh, the uh, the environmental community uh, overall. And I am really glad that we are going to be able to keep his memory alive in some form or the other, through our actions, through the knowledge that we have gained, and we are going to pass forward to the other people. So I will for once cherish him forever, and always he will be with me, no matter where he is right now. He will always watch over us, and I will always have him in my thoughts, whatever I do, in all my actions. He will always be there with me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jigyasa. Thank you to Dr. Shubhangini, Dinesh, and Jigyasa for sharing us a little bit more insight of who Dr. Joshi was, and it's all beautiful all the way. Thank you so much for giving us more of him. And to go ahead, I will now request a very long time friend of Dr. Joshi, that is Dr. Chandrakant Lattu, our very own Lattu sir, as we call him. The person who takes us around into the jungle and explains nature. So he is a person. Dr. Lattu, over to you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Well, it's very difficult to speak about on such occasion. Probably I had a longer association with him than Shubhangi, more than 50 years. I have to remember that you've given me 5 minutes. So when he came from his hometown Nandurbar, after completing his BSc to Mumbai Institute of Science, I was already there. I was senior, 7-8 years senior to him. And he started his work under Dr. M.S. Rege, a known, very good teacher of zoology of that time. And fortunately, we became friends. And to his first collection, the animal which he selected for his MSc by research paper, myself and he went to Gilbert Hill. That used to be a very mucky area those days. And the animal on which he was working on Paila is a mollusk on which he was working. And we collected from that place. And again, after some time, some other time, we went to Nirmal. It is located near Nalasopara. That is also a wetland area. There also we could collect. So this is how it started. And then we used to keep together for a very long time, because I would not call him as an environmentalist, because environmentalists, they make money. I will call him as a nature lover. He was a real nature lover. And though he was a student of zoology, he is equally interested in plant life also. So every time, whatever concern with the plants, he used to ask me. And we used to discuss about, as Roshni said, actually myself, Ashok Joshi, and few others like Nishi Phonge, then Ratnakar Tardalkar, then Shivaji Fulsundar and Chauhan from MPDC. We were in one group called Environment and Biotechnology Foundation, and we used to meet every weekend for discussion about the programs. In fact, in that organization's name and biotechnology was introduced by Ashok because he was supposed to work in that area because he was the only person who was knowing about it, environment and biotechnology and all. Unfortunately, that organization didn't work much on that field, but later on became a pioneer in the field of tree census jobs. From that time only we were thinking about the environment and all that. So we were sitting together, myself, Nishi and Ashok, and I was once called by Nishi to Rachna Samsat just to talk with the, I don't remember whether third year or fourth year student regarding the plant life and all that. And he said, you just suggest some design for, say, Machan in the forest. I have suggested one design and I don't remember the student and I don't remember whether that drawing exists. That girl had prepared such a fantastic design in the forest. It was all made up of steel and done completely camouflaged by plants. So it will look like a tree, but it was a machan for weaving the wildlife and all that. And from that time we were together and then started, as Roshni said, regarding the program for environment and how the zoology and plant science can help in the field of art. So I had just given little tips about at that time regarding the syllabus about the plants in architecture, especially the physiology, the ecology of the plants, the soil conditions, the water requirements, the climatic conditions which favor the particular plants and all that. And this is how it started. Ashok never worked for continuously for one organization, but he had a great contribution with some very good reports which are very important from point of view of science. He worked with Humayun Abdulali, a great naturalist and from Bombay Naturalist History Society, on frogs. And actually it was a great project and it was acclaimed internationally, that project. Later on, with his teacher, Professor Rege, he was a part and parcel of one program which was conducted by Professor Haldar, the then director of the Institute of Science, about the these chemicals, the heavy metals, which are responsible for so many type of problems in this, especially mercury and cadmium and all that. So they worked on the Kalu River and this Ulhasnagar River, and how this biomagnification takes place. That great project for which his contribution was very, very important. He was a very simple person. When he started getting some trouble with his cardiac problem, whenever he used to come to me, he used to come to Parla, stand on bus stop and call me that I have already reached, because I stay on second floor. So it was not possible for him. So he used to call me. Then we used to go and sit in Mi Marathi restaurant, and then we used to discuss about the problems and all that. Whenever he was working with the housing project in for Tata in Goa. For that also, whatever EIA he has prepared, the botanical part of that, he consulted me for that, and this is how we. So for me, it's a big loss personally. Cannot be repaired. My prayer to the God, may his soul rest in peace, and give courage to Shubhangi Josna, to whom I called, she has another name also, and Dinesh, to bear the loss, because the entire family is to call me Lattu Kaka, including the Shubhangi. So it was a great association. It's a big loss and cannot be repaired. Finally, I thank Roshni for adjusting this meeting on Google Meet just for to facilitate my inclusion in the meeting, uh, putting herself in discomfort and the team in discomfort. Uh, okay, anyway, it's a my heartfelt condolences once again. Thank you very much, Roshni, for arranging this meet. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lattu. I just recalled an incident when you and Dr. Joshi, and myself and our team actually was going to Jezuri for the lake restoration project. And I recall that you and Dr. Joshi were continuously talking right from the start. We started from Mumbai till we reached Jezuri, continuously talking, and we were just listening. Okay. I think next I will invite our Vice President of IEAR, Architect Rajiv Daishete, whom Dr. Joshi was very fond of, to say a few words.
Sorry. I want to talk, but no words. No words. It's big loss. Rather, I have lost my father, my guru, my teacher, my friend, who was very much with me and fond of me. I was also fond of him. He was a very nice person, and can't believe that he is no more. Sorry, I can't speak. Please. Sorry.
Okay. No issues, Dr. Rajiv. May I now invite, I think, Prajakta, who has also been one of his favorite students, to say a few words.
Thank you, Roshni ma'am, for arranging this actually. So last week when Sneha called me and she shared this saddest news, I instantly went back into a flashback. And I've been knowing Joshi sir for last 10 years now. And this an entire decade I have been with him as a student and in many other roles, as I will talk ahead. It is once in a lifetime that people get to meet an amazing teacher like him. It all started with me being his student back in 2011. He and his teaching style both were so unique then, and has been unique till date. His lectures were so full of brainstorming sessions. He never provided us with direct answers, but built on the lecture with intense discussions with all students, where we together found our path towards every aspect of the subject. By the end of the class, the board used to be a huge mind map, and at one glance at it, you could understand the entire topic. He used to often say, "You're almost there, very close to the final answer, just a little more effort is required." He was so patient with every student of his, everyone. One incident that I would want to share here, which also I guess became the base of the bond that we both shared, was Joshi sir initially was never my thesis guide. It was Dr. Rakesh Kumar. But one fine afternoon, almost a month prior to my finals, I came crying to Roshni ma'am's cabin just to inform her that I will postpone my jury for the next semester. I was facing issues understanding the chemistry part of my experiment, and it was all a mess. She called up Joshi sir, who was away from college, but in an hour's time, he was there consoling me and giving me the confidence by saying, "Don't worry, we will do this together." And from that day till my final jury, he, with Dr. Gaukar, was there with me every single day. My setup was in Borivali, where he used to reach before time, before actually me reaching the venue. He used to be there. Even Dr. Gaukar used to be there. He personally went to buy the equipment for my experiment. He used to not take me because he thought I was a small kid still, but he used to go out with Dr. Gaukar and he bought all the equipments for my experiment. He was always so helpful to all his students and was such a gem of a person. And he has gone several times out of his way to help his students. Later, this teacher-student relation we had, it transformed into a scientist and a researcher one, where we did work together on the Godrej VOC project. That was the time when I got an opportunity to know the scientist in him. He used to narrate his past experiences while we shared sandwiches outside the Godrej colony during our lunch break. It was back then that I knew his habit of having only a half sandwich. I later became a part of the ECBC team, started teaching at the master's course. Joshi sir, of course, along with all other faculties, they stood by me, they guided me and advised me for my better future. This professional bond that we shared soon turned into a personal one, where I became more of a daughter to him and Shubhangini ma'am. Our Mandwa getaway was so full of me sharing my travel experiences, and he was so keen and proud listening to all of it, while also being very caring whenever we met later, knowing my health issue back then. I am glad that I could meet him few months back, where despite of his health issue, he came, shared his valuable inputs, spent time with us while having his regular half sandwich. He was a father figure to me, whose presence will be missed now. I will always cherish the memories that I have with you, sir, and will make you prouder each passing year. You will be missed forever, Joshi sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Prajakta. That's such a true story about the sandwiches and all the memories of Godrej project. Really, it was a wonderful experience. I will now invite Sadhana, Dr. Sadhana, to say a few words.
I would like to share experience with him. And we completed the environment status report for the pollution control board. And without his this kind of support, it was really difficult, and it was really very strong bond we created. I know him for at least 18 years, and we are teaching together and working together. Very nice person. And fortunately, I've got several opportunities to travel together with our faculty team and with all of us. And I always used to admire about Joshi sir and Shubhangi madam as a couple. Their love, their care, respect for each other, and their compatibility. Literally, it is incredible. I always appreciate them as a couple. He was a nice person, nice friend, guide, philosopher, as is being explained, pictured by till now. We will always miss him. May his soul rest in peace. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Thank you, Dr. Sadhana. May I now request Dr. Lalita Bhattacharjee to say a few words.
Thank you. Okay, dear Shubhangi, Jigyasa, and Dinesh, and other colleagues and friends in the environment fraternity, I did not imagine that I would have to witness a condolence meeting for Ashok, Dr. Ashok Joshi. It is shocking and a painful moment for us. I'm still coming to terms with the fact that he is no more. As Shubhangi rightly mentioned, and I echo her thoughts, it seems like yesterday that we met, we used to call him Joshi, Ashok. This was way back in 1976. So we've known him for the last 40 odd years, around a little more than that. And when we were graduate students at the SNDT University doing nutrition, we used to visit RIS. And rightly enough, our work on mercury toxicity, Ashok gave us a lot of guidance sitting with us. Those were those wonderful days. And then, of course, Shubhangi and Ashok got married. So we also played Cupid to some extent at that time. So I remember those good old days in town. Anyway, so Shubhangi, so Dr. Joshi, the dear husband of my dear friend Shubhangi, who was my classmate from 71 to 77 and then onwards as a fellow nutrition colleague. Though we were in different institutions and agencies across the world, we have kept in touch. Although I would have loved to have kept in touch more often, but they always attended. We attended each other's weddings. He came for my son's spread ceremony and so many more occasions. It was wonderful. I would like to point out that Dr. Joshi belonged to that generation of experts and leaders who were strong in their fundamental knowledge of the subject and paved the way for application of that knowledge in real terms, as all of you have testified so clearly, and in this case through environment-related programs. At a personal level, he was a friend. We were fortunate to have met Shubhangi and Ashok in 2017 when they came down to Thailand and attended the Durga Puja. We caught up on so many things. It was so wonderful. And that's why it's even more painful that, you know, they're not going to see him again. My husband, Tapan, Topu, whom he also used to call him as, are saddened that the first week of April was an unfortunate one, which took him away very suddenly. I absolutely echo the thoughts that Ashok was a simple, humble and rooted person. He symbolized a humane persona, as we say, who could relate to another fellow human within an instant, and that was his special quality. This is something which I don't think everybody has, and this was a very special quality. Yes, nothing is permanent in this world. Moments come and go, days pass by, turning into weeks, then months, and then years. We and the life that we lead are constantly changing. I quote the Dalai Lama at this point: awareness of impermanence and appreciation of our human potential gives us all the urgency that we must use every precious moment. We pray that Ashok Joshi's soul rests in eternal peace. As we say goodbye to a dear departed friend, let us cherish his work, his ideals, and continue the work that he has done and pave the way for. He has left his mortal body and has reached his heavenly abode, but his work lives on. We pray that his soul rests in peace.
Thank you, Dr. Lalita. And before I ask Sadhana to close with the Prarthana, I will just read out a few messages which, I was requested to read out. Of course, there are so many messages which I cannot on the Facebook page and even now on the chat and other places, but I will just read out a few messages. One of our IER trustees, Shirish Deshpande, who is actually now traveling to Guwahati and he could not attend, but he has left a note which I'm reading out, slightly long, but I think it's very interesting, it's very nice. He says here, it was year 2006-2007 when Roshni introduced me to a sedate and scholarly person in our environmental architecture department room. She said, meet Dr. Joshi, our senior faculty member. In that first interaction, we had just a casual discussion and he proceeded to take his lecture. Subsequently, we had some brief hi-hello kind of interactions in the department room. One day, he asked me specifically about solar PV panels, their efficiency and life cycle, and what all components could go wrong in solar PV system. The area was of my interest and he had very fundamental and pinpointed questions which I was happy to answer. Probably he must have got the answers he was looking for and he was very happy about it. Later he told me that he was planning on installing one such system for his weekend home at Payne. Over the course of next few weeks, we kept on meeting at the department and the discussions were more than the casual ones. I was smitten by his gentle wit and ease, in which he carried his knowledge and also about his teaching philosophy to convey the subject to architecture students who had happily forgotten their science background which they learned in 12th standard, and how to regenerate their interest in various technical aspects related to environmental architecture and construction. During the mock viva we used to conduct for our final year MR students, his true research nature would come into fore. He used to ask pointed questions about research methodology adopted and would offer his candid comments for improvement. I'm sure all the students were benefited, but for someone like me who is more of a hands-on auditing person, there were lots of facets of conducting research and applying that which were an eye-opener for me. I vividly remember our 3-day workshop conducted for Godrej Interior team on sustainable manufacturing practices. He took fewer sessions but was always there at the backside of the train room, and jumping in whenever needed for elaborating on certain aspects regarding life cycle analysis of materials. Later, he developed a full-fledged setup in college for testing VOC content of the Godrej furniture. The setup was simple and yet complete in all aspects and meeting international testing standards. That offered a great credibility to our department. When we took up the task of developing ECBC code for the state of Maharashtra and suggesting methods for effective implementation strategies, his uncanny common sense solved most of the issues we used to discuss. Actually, ECBC was not his core area of work. However, his simple approach and crystal clear thinking took us through the entire process. I always refer to him as our go-to vice counsel for any difficulties or problems faced by our team and department at large. He always used to offer a fitting solution in no time. He was an example of simple living and high thinking philosophy. I always wonder how easily he carried his vast experience and up-to-date knowledge. Numerous visits to his Spain home and our faculty picnics and get-togethers, his witty one-liners would always be spot on. In the last week itself, when our group was discussing about visiting Amboli in monsoon, I remembered our faculty trip to Konkan, and on 15th August, we had celebrated his birthday amid the rains and mist at Amboli. Next day, Roshni broke the sad news of his demise. He always used to say he had fulfilled all his duties and would be happy to go anytime. Sir, you would have been content about the life you had lived, but for us, it is a loss which will sadden us, and at the same time, we would remember your one-liner remarks, and there would be a smile on our face. We will surely miss you in shaping our IER activities, but I'm sure you are always around us, all of us, and thinking how Joshi sir would have resolved the situation and would guide us. Thanks, sir, for being part of our lives. That was from Shirish Deshpande. Abraham Yehuda has also sent a message for him. He says here, the first time I met Dr. Joshi was at Roshni's office at Rachna. This was soon after my relocation to India in 2007. I cannot forget the constant smile he had on his face throughout the meeting. It was warm, welcoming, infectious, and embracing, and I was immediately struck by the intelligence in those beady eyes. Such was the man, always friendly, spreading knowledge, cheerful and positive. His easy presence at any forum always exuded confidence in the organizers and other participants that the job at hand would get done. I can only imagine the level of enlightenment and positive energy he spread among his students in class after class. Deeply saddened to learn about his passing, I dare say he gave us too little of his life, intellect, and vitality. But then who are we mortals to pass judgment on matters like these? May his many precepts remain etched in our minds, and may his soul always find comfort and rest in the afterlife. Deepest condolences to Shubhangini ji and family. That was from Abraham Yehuda. We have also Urmila Rajadaksha. I think we interacted with her on the landscape aspect, on developing a course on landscape. She says, so, I'm really sorry to hear of your and your institute's loss, Roshni, and I would say live his dream. Vijay Pandey, also a trustee of IAR, says here that Dr. Joshi was a great teacher, very knowledgeable and enthusiastic, environmentalist, very humble, and above all, a great human being. He will be missed forever. One of his students, or she was also teaching, Sanjeevani Sagwekar, She says, very sad news. Whatever little time that I had shared with him was full of so much information and knowledge. My deepest condolences to the family. May his soul find peace. Mandhar Duri, one of his MR's urban planning students, he says he cannot forget the unique concepts Joshi sir taught my batch when we were at the MR's course at Academy. Always with a smile, sir used to very easily bring us to complex systems and aspects of environment and habitat. His concepts for Earth as a spaceship are forever etched into my mind and heart. Heartfelt condolences to the Joshi family and our prayers to the Almighty to give them strength in these moments. May God grant mukti to the departed noble soul. Shilpa Joglekar, who was one of the heads of the department's fine art department in Rachna Sansad, we interacted with her very closely on building an eco house for her in Pali. She says it was always such a pleasure to meet him and so much to learn from him. We will certainly feel the loss. Deep condolences to his wife and family. Charulata Nabar, one of the students, also a grave loss. My heartfelt condolences to family and friends. He will always be remembered for his humble nature and passionate teaching. Deepak Sanghai, Dr. Joshi was associated with us as a mentor. We will miss him, miss his valuable guidance and memorable time with him. May his soul rest in peace. Mr. Surendra Shah, also honorary member, he's here. Having lost recently 3 of my college friends, I can feel your pain. The void left due his departure will take a long time to fill. However, the team has helped. However, he has helped build the team is quite capable of continuing to nurture the fledgling organization that you all have created till it grows into a premier institution for environmental architecture. We are all with you. So there are many more, but I think I will take a pause and stop here. And I will request now again Dr. Sadhna Mahashabde to close this meeting with a prayer.
I will request all of you to recite the prayer, and let's end with the 5 times Omkar. And this prayer will be specially for the Vishwashanti and praying God for the peace of departed soul, and also taking blessings from God and departed soul for our well-being. This is from Rigveda. I will request all of you to recite it for the departed soul and to get the blessings. Om Krishnaya Vasudevaya Haraye Paramatmane Pranatah Kleshanashaya Govindaya Om Sahanavatu Sahano Bhunaktu
Sahaviryam Karvavavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvidishavavahe
Om
Sarve
Santu Sarve Santu Nirmaya Sarve
Bhadrani Pashantu Pashityu
Om
Sadgamaya Soma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma
Gamaya Om
Shanti.
Let's recite 5 times Omkar for Ashok Joshi sir.
Shanti. Shanti.
I thank everyone, and with that we will close the meeting. Thank you everyone. Thank you.